Let's talk about why Ben Affleck really might be the best Batman. Clap it. The direction his dumbass director took him isn't really his fault. If we're going to blame and point fingers at anybody for how the DCEU turned out, Zack Snyder's the reason. He managed to come up with a compelling Superman, but that's when you should have taken the reins from him. You gave him too much credit. Gave him too much power, but crazy times, right? Crazy times. How you guys doing? My name is Hero. This is Coding with Strangers, and I wanna talk about something. If Man of Steel's theme song is not the best theme song, I don't know what is. What are you gonna do when you're not saving the world? Great theme song. Bum 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 bum, ba-dum, ba-dum, ba-dum. It's so good. It's so good. But Zack Snyder has thoughts. And while it's never been my job to, I stay in my lane. I don't go around critiquing or talking about how to make movies and how to make them better and stuff like that because I'm not a movie theater dude. I don't act. I don't sing. I do create content. I'm not a director. I'm not a producer of large-scale films. But Zack Snyder has decided to talk about AI, and he's sold. He's bought in. And I have reason to believe that Zack Snyder might be all sold in and bought in because he's probably invested in it. Because no way in his rightful mind should he be advocating for something that literally his whole entire industry went on protest for. Right? And for Zack Snyder to be so bought into this system that goes against what most of the people in his industry don't appreciate about it is kind of compelling. So I want to hear why Zack Snyder thinks AI is so enthralling and why he's well willing to back it. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Don't let a black man fail in December. Let's get into it. Zack Snyder thinks Hollywood needs to get on board with AI or get left behind. Zack Snyder says he still questions the why of the technology when it comes to some aspects of filmmaking, but can definitely see the perks. He doesn't strike me as a person that understands like AI at all. He doesn't understand it. Zack Snyder doesn't seem to be at all worried about AI disrupting the filmmaking world, bringing scores of novices to the fold at Wired, the big interview event in San Francisco on Tuesday. The director told managing editor Hemal Jhaveri that every single person has a pretty good movie camera on their phone, and yet we don't have right this second.
Hey bro, I think I'm gonna head on in for the night. I'm kind of tired.
No problem. Get some rest.
Hey, didn't you work today?
12-hour shift.
And you went to the gym?
PR to 700 deadlift.
And you still got energy to do all this work? Where does the energy come from, bro?
I'm at my best when I have my zest, baby.
Get zest?
The Zest Super Berry Samba Green Tea comes packed with 135 milligrams of caffeine and L-theanine. That's how I stay focused for longer and stronger throughout the day with no crash. It's way better than coffee or any of those sugar-filled energy drinks out there. No GMO, gluten-free, and it won't stain your teeth.
Oh yeah, that sounds real good. Is this one right?
Yes, sir, that's the one. But my brother in Zest, I'm gonna need you to get your own Super Berry Samba Green Tea.
Selfish.
You mad, bro? Don't worry, I got you. Use my promotional code down below to get 20% off selected items and the subscriptions. That's Coding with Strangers, all one word. Put that in the checkout box and you'll be good to go. Thank you so much to Zest for the sponsorship. Anyway, millions of awesome movies being uploaded out of the people's pockets. What the hell is he talking about? What is he talking about?
Hey, yo, what the
Does he not know what YouTube is? There's literally 10,000 hours of footage uploaded every hour to YouTube. And not all of it's cinema quality, but there is some amazing animation and this is condescending. If this is the most boomerish thing I've heard today. What an out of touch comment to make. Everyone has cinema quality cameras in their pockets, but people aren't making cinema quality movies. Bro, you have a budget of $250 million and you had Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman, and you couldn't sell that movie. And then they gave you a second chance to do it, and you still couldn't do it with 4 hours. Oh my goodness. Zack Snyder reminds me of a person that would step in his own shit and thinks it smells like roses. That doesn't mean he thinks Hollywood creatives can avoid AI altogether. Educating yourself and understanding what it can and can't do is important. Right now, especially where it exists, in the image making and storytelling, Snyder said you have to understand what it is and what it's not capable of. You have to be able to use it as a tool as opposed to standing on the sideline with your hands on your hips. He doesn't understand that like any version of this hurts the people who are standing on the sideline with their hands on the hip. Oh, come on. Let's just use it to do storyboarding. Okay, now artists who would have made the storyboard, that would have used the storyboard to then make comic books and other prequel and other merchandise, that's gone. Or replaced by AI. And where would you get refined sketches like that? Could you imagine asking an AI bot not to give you a full picture, but to give you a halfway presented picture so you can present it as a mock-up? While Snyder says he still sometimes questions why AI filmmaking, asking what the point of using technology would be if you just want to shoot footage of someone sitting in a chair in a living room, for instance. He also acknowledges that the technology potential to make some shots more accessible. AI doesn't care if the house is on fire or if it's on Mars or whether it's underwater. He told Jhaveri, all things that might cost a filmmaker a lot of money to shoot are to the AI no different. Yeah, but that's the thrill of it. The reason why people respect your actual counterpart in the DC films, not I want to say Hans Zimmer, but Christopher Nolan uses all practical, as much practicality in his stuff. The tumbler was practical. The explosion of that football field was as practical as possible. Even digging holes in trenches for players to actually fall into to make it seem like they were being wiped off the map. And people appreciate that tenfold. The Daredevil in camera, single shot. Those are all practical things that no AI bot could ever do. No AI bot could ever make a single shot the way we've done it. At least not in my lifetime. It could get close, but it would never be as good. Snyder says he's especially intrigued by the idea of AI that could understand a movie or filmmaker's aesthetic core, like he was able to shoot an actor's performance and then sync it up with a production designer, creator, world, or set in some sort of aesthetic bank. Like, he has no idea how AI works. This statement I just made for him, it literally proves he has no idea. He wants to, I want to see if AI could fundamentally understand the core aspects and aesthetics of a creative mind. No, it could simply just duplicate what you've given it. And the more variables you add to it, the more it gets to guess. There's a reason why it can't even recall things perfectly. If you give AI a perfect sentence and tell it to read it back to you, it'll send it back with corrections, even though you asked it just to repeat itself. We can't even get AI to draw pictures of people with 5 fingers on their hand. It's so weird because he's trying to be an artisanal protector, like, oh, we want the artistic way of life, but please keep investing in whatever. We got to look up. Is Zack Snyder invested in stocks, in some type of stock? I just know it's going to come out that he is, and it's crazy. When it happens, I won't be denied. But that's neither here or there. For every Zack Snyder, there's definitely going to be someone else who has a different of opinion. And this is why Batman will forever be so much cooler. It's because Batman be Batman, and y'all know I be using that analogy about if you're gonna use AI is like Batman's utility belt. It's a great tool if you are Batman because you know how to use it. So Zack Snyder, the director of Justice League, and brought us Ben Affleck's Batman, Baffleck, as I like to call him. A lot of people hated on that Batman, and it was because Zack Snyder didn't understand who Batman was as a character and how killing people is probably one of his most precious rules. But for all the flaws and iterations that he's made of Batman, it's good to know that Ben Affleck understands Batman.
Demonstration, my colleague Andrew Sorkin and I recreated ourselves and our voices. How do you see it? I mean, is it a benefit or is it a real threat? Is it possible that a Netflix could say, we're going to do our own, James Bond thing out there with a bunch of actors that are completely recreated for this market or that market?
A, that's not possible now. B, will it be possible in the future? Highly unlikely. C, movies will be one of the last things, if everything gets replaced, to be replaced by AI. AI can write you excellent imitative verse that sounds Elizabethan. It cannot write you Shakespeare. The function of having 2 actors or 3 or 4 actors in a room and the taste to discern and construct that is something that currently entirely eludes AI's capability, and I think will for a meaningful period of time. What AI is going to do is going to disintermediate the more laborious, less creative, and more costly aspects of filmmaking that will allow costs to be brought down, that will lower the barrier to entry, that will allow more voices to be heard, that will make it easier for the people who want to make Good Will Huntings to go out and make it. Look, AI is a craftsman. At best, craftsmen can learn to, make stickly furniture by sitting down next to somebody and seeing what their technique is and imitating. That's how large video models, large language models, basically work. A library of vectors of meaning and transformers that interpret context, right? But they're just cross-pollinating things that exist. Nothing new is created.
Not yet.
Yeah, not yet. And really, in order to do that, look. Craftsman is knowing how to work. Art is knowing when to stop. And I think knowing when to stop is going to be a very difficult thing for AI to learn because it's taste. And also, lack of consistency, lack of controls, lack of quality. AI, for this world of generative video, is going to do key things more. I wouldn't like to be in the visual effects business. They're in trouble. Because what costs a lot of money is now going to cost a lot less. And it's going to hammer that space, and it already is. And maybe it shouldn't take 1,000 people to render something, but it's not going to replace human beings making films. It may make your background more convincing. It can change the color of your shirt. It can fix mistakes that you've made. It can make it, you might be able to get 2 seasons of House of the Dragon in a year instead of 1. And if that happens, according to macroeconomics, in cultures where there are basically oligopolies competing, what should happen is with the same demand and the same spend is they should just make more shows, which should, you should have the same spend and now you can just watch more episodes. And eventually AI will allow you to ask for your own episode of Succession, where you could say, I'll pay $30, and can you make me a 45-minute episode where, Kendall gets the company and runs off and has an affair with Stewie? And it'll do it. And it'll be a little janky and a little bit weird, but it'll know their stats, it'll know those actors, and it will...
The crazy part is, I've watched OpenAI give presentations on AI. I've watched Microsoft give presentations on AI, Google, Apple, NVIDIA. And he seems to have a better understanding of how AI works and how it's implemented and how it should be used. He has a comprehensive understanding. I don't know what Ben Affleck's background is, but I saw him in an accountant, and I believe that he could definitely balance my damn check tax book, my taxes, if I brought it to him. It's kind of mind-boggling how comfortable he is talking about it, but also it's proof that he's well-read and understands the art of his craft, and he understands the detriment and damage it could do to a group of people. his mentioning of the special effects workers, his concerns for other people who are in the industry is very much clear. He has a clear understanding. And that contrast between him and Zack Snyder is quite apparent. I don't know why Zack Snyder felt obligated to speak on AI, as he clearly didn't understand how a cell phone in our pocket is used to make wonderful content on the very platform you're probably watching this on, YouTube. You literally subscribe and follow and watch multiple artists who put their life soul into creating content. But because it's not on Netflix, I guess it doesn't count. It stands to reason why this version of Batman probably should be re-looked at. And it's not really because of how he was interpreted, because I'm almost 110% willing to bet if we gave AI Ben Affleck's Batman, that AI would have known better than to let Ben Affleck kill anybody. But that's just my opinion. Clap it.
Get down.
Let me know what you think. We know AI is coming, we know how it's going to work, but how is it going to be integrated into the movie world? How are we going to start seeing this? We've started to see signs of like people making posters, making the posters having buildings in the wrong places, people using it for backdrops, using it for backup characters, and none of those movies ever look aesthetically pleasing. What will it take for us to get to that next level? I'm curious to know. As far as I'm concerned, I don't think it's going to happen.